was I go, okay, well, him throwing my guy out of bounds like a child has to be illegal too. We challenge that. And literally all 3 refs that were like, they were going the other way. Yeah. They all paused. And they were like, he's right. Like they were both.
I never do that.
Yep. And so that was it was this pause. I don't know the rules. You could have been allowed to do that. Right. You could have been allowed to hit him with a steel chair. I don't know. And I was just like, I know how to argue for my guy. And so I just throw that, and they go, give us a second. And I was like, okay, I guess that did something.
Yeah.
And they come back to me and they go, hey, there's only one answer. They got to wrestle again. And I was like, that's the only answer?
Yeah.
I thought there was another answer. We won.
Yeah, right.
And I remember, and this is kind of why I wanted to start with this story. I remember your knees swollen up, you're beat up after that match.
Oh, yeah.
And I remember walking over and going, hey, Eric, you got to wrestle again. And you go, what? And I shook my head, and you go, okay. And just walked away. And I don't think we've ever talked about this. I don't know what your mindset is. I think you get about 30 minutes. What were, if you can remember, the thoughts going through your head in those 30 minutes?
Oh, I definitely remember.
Okay, let me hear it.
That was a rough patch in my life, that 30 minutes.
Yeah.
Preslov was so physical.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like I'm a physical grappler.
Mm-hmm.
I club pretty hard. When I sink something in, I sink it in pretty hard,
mm-hmm.
and I feel like I'm a physical guy on my feet more than anything. He was twice as physical as I was.
Yeah.
And that got in my head,
mm-hmm.
And I beat him because I was more technical, not because I was more physical.
Mm-hmm.
And that was the first thing I thought. I'm like, I have surgery in 2 weeks. I can't feel 3 of my fingers right now.
Uh-huh.
My head, I think I had 2 black eyes
mm-hmm.
after the match. My ear was halfway ripped off from the cauliflower. I was banged up.
Uh-huh.
And that was the first thing for the first 2-3 minutes going through my head. Like, I don't know that I can do this again.
Mm-hmm.
That was one of the most physical matches I've ever been in.
Mm-hmm.
And I do remember that. I was sitting on the bleachers when you came up and told me. And I'm like, you have to be kidding me.
You're joking, Josh.
Yeah, there's no way. Like, we'll challenge something else.
Yeah.
My mind immediately went to excuses.
Mm-hmm.
It immediately went to, well, I want to challenge that he never took a shot.
Yeah.
I'm thinking, how can I re-challenge this and win this fight? And I remember that lasting for a good 5 minutes or so of making excuses in my head, trying to find ways to get out of this next match, trying to figure out how to weasel out,
mm-hmm.
basically. And I went and got a drink of water, and I sat by myself and I thought about it, and I'm like, I can get out of this. I can go talk to them about, I took 18 shots in 2 minutes. He didn't take any.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, where's the stalling in one?
Mm-hmm.
Let's rewatch that.
Mm-hmm.
I had all offense. He had 0. And I remember just stopping myself like, wait a second. Who are you?
Mm-hmm.
What are you thinking? Because going back to Tech Falls, I hated to pin people through wrestling in junior high, high school, college. I didn't want to pin anybody. To me, it's the same thing in jiu-jitsu, the same reasoning I have in jiu-jitsu. If I submit somebody, I know this is not popular opinion.
Uh-huh.
This is not popular opinion at all. If I submit someone, you in your head, especially local, if I go to a St. Louis tournament and I submit someone in the first minute,
mm-hmm.
in your head, your mental thinking is, man, he just caught me.
I got caught.
Mm-hmm. I don't ever want you to think that. And in jiu-jitsu, in gi jiu-jitsu, I want to beat you 40-0. And I want to put on 3 or 4 submissions and let them go. And I, you know, and that's always been my thing, my whole life. That's been my thinking. And for those 5 minutes, I was thinking how to weasel my way out of that match. And I just remember sitting there and finally getting to myself where nobody was talking to me. And I'm like, who are you? Go prove it. Prove to everyone, prove to him, because he thinks he lost by that point.
Mm-hmm.
I can't let him think that.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? I can't let him believe that he can beat me. And I need to prove it again. And now, 10, 15 minutes after the match, I can't wait to fight him again. You know, I had to sit by myself and think about it and really dig deep and say, I have to prove it. I didn't prove it. I have to prove it now, you know. And I remember all of that. That was because that sunk my heart when I heard that I had to fight him again, you know.
I remember just the difference, because I could see it on your face that you were like, man, I don't know. Like when I first told you, I don't know if I have it.
Yeah.
I don't know if I can.
I didn't think I did.
And, you know, I know that you have surgery in 2 weeks. If you would have said, hey, Josh, pack up the car, let's head home, I'd have said, you know what? Normally I would have told you no, but I think this time, this one situation, maybe we pack up the car, we head home.
Yeah.
And then I saw you do the Huebner hop and bouncing on your toes, and I was like, oh, he's ready. Let's go have this match again.
Yeah.
And you put it on in the next match.
Yeah.
It wasn't close in the next match.
No,
And
I remember completely controlling the whole thing. You know?
I remember about the first minute and a half, 2 minutes, it was a lot of hand fighting again. But then when the pace started from you and you started to realize like, oh, he's more tired than I am. I've got more than he does.
Yeah.
It was on.
Yeah.
I remember I went from coach to cheerleader in that moment of like, oh yeah, there's no more coaching that needs done.
Yeah.
We're just going wild now. And man, it was a great performance.
Yeah. Thank you.